I'm excited about this. I got the champion, the legend, Andrew Paytel on the show today. We're going to be talking about why trust breaks on teams and what great leaders do differently. We have one of the best leaders that I've ever met in the house. Andrew, you earned that. You're awesome. It has been so fun to work with you and get to learn from your mentorship and see your years of experience in biopharma and now over at Freeman Company, where you guys are crushing it in real estate on Long Beach Island over there in New Jersey. So welcome to Vision Pros Live, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jackson and team. Always excited to get on with other high energy, excitable people, man. I'm just really stoked to be having this conversation today and the opportunity you're giving me here to connect with others.
It's going to be so fun. Vision Pros leadership is one of the best things that we can figure out how to manage, how to figure out how to help people feel inspired to work with us and support the visions that we have. It could be a small vision, it could be a big vision. Either way, learning to communicate and build trust with others is a phenomenal reality. And we have a big agenda today. We have a short amount of time due to some technical difficulties that happens, but I'm gonna bring Andrew back so we can go through the whole process, because when you've got somebody like Michael Gerber or Andrew Paytel or Patrick Lencioni, it's like, man, you got to be able to maximize that and really dive in deep. But we're going to start and hit strong. First, we're going to talk about why trust breaks on teams. And then we're going to talk about how strong leaders create environments where people choose to contribute. So let's go with the first part. Why does trust break on teams, Andrew? What are some of the hidden realities that maybe we overlook in our blind spots?
Well, that's obviously a deep question. I'll keep it simple. I think trust, it breaks when people don't do what they say they're going to do, number one. And that really ties back to when you create a vision or a mission statement or guiding principles for a team, whatever kind of team, and you align on those and agree to them. They become your set of standards. And when people don't do those things after you've agreed, and it could be as simple as just an agreement you have on a project or with another. And the easiest way to break trust is to then go back on what you said you were going to do and not follow through. That's one. And I think another is, as a leader, is making sure, like, if you role modeling the way is so important. That I always believed in the player coach mentality that, yeah, you're the leader and you've got to set the pace and kind of motivate and energize, but you're also shoulder to shoulder, and others will trust you if they think you're willing to do the work with them and you're with them in the struggle, if you will. But the minute they think that you're above that or outside of it and you're talking at them or through them, trust will break, and then they will give you just enough and no discretionary effort.
Oh man, there's so much gold in that. My friends, it reminds me of two very powerful leaders as well. Dan Martell dropped a secret in a mastermind I was in one time where he said for his sales team, if he notices the energy is a little bit low in the sales room, he'll go in and he say, okay, all of us, me included, let's drop and do 5 push-ups. And they drop and do 5 push-ups. And he taught them and he taught us the psychology is, if we aren't doing the things that we've committed ourselves to do, we will stop to trust in ourselves. We start to feel insecure. And so when you tell yourself, I'm going to do 5 push-ups, and you get down and you do 5 push-ups, that automatically enhances your trust in yourself, because now you've become more reliable. It honors exactly what you said. I'll also switch gears to Scott Ritzheimer. Scott Ritzheimer's got a fantastic podcast out there as well. And he wrote a book and talked about how, imagine being the coach of a team, and the team's on the line to win the game, and they go to throw the ball to the end zone, and coach runs downfield and grabs the ball for the touchdown. And how everybody's now looking at him going, what the heck did you just do? You just humiliated yourself. You just humiliated your team. You just cost them the game. Why? Because you ran out and did what you weren't supposed to do. And as entrepreneurs, sometimes we do that to our teams. We get right in the way and take over. But on the flip side, Andrew, you also talked about a super simple fix. You said one of the challenges, if we just don't do what we say we're going to do. So the simple fix is, let's do what we say we're going to do, right? Let's have the integrity of doing just that. That's a simple fix. It's something that we can all work on and improve. So now to the next piece on this, the aspect of how strong leaders create environments where people choose to contribute. So you're at a new environment. You're now with Freeman Company. This is a world-class real estate company that's done millions of dollars in sales, 200 million last year, and they're just crushing on this island. They're super loved. And now you've come in and wanted to contribute. What are some of the things that you noticed about this group that drew your attention and made you say, you know what, I want to be part of this team?
That's a great question, Jackson. And I can tell you, it really stems back to the last company I was with, Regeneron. I joined that company 11 years ago, and something valuable after 20 years in the industry, that when you're part of something bigger than yourself and you believe in that mission that's been established, and then you believe you can have an impact on it as well. Really special things can happen where you're motivated from that, and the pull's created right away. There's no push, number one. And you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. You're on a mission. In that case, we were a biotechnology company, and we developed monoclonal antibodies for difficult to treat diseases. And we all felt like we were part of that because of the patient impact. And they were, significant scientific, achievements by that company that we all felt part of. So then when I joined Freeman Company, or when I started talking with them a year ago, the owner, who I know pretty well, I believe they have that same thing. They're small, but they've been built really well on a strong foundation of principles, integrity, trust, quality, and really wanting to do great work for others, to do well by doing good. And I believe in that, and it ties right back to that experience I had at Regeneron. And now for me, it's a special place, different than any other brokerage on the island. And yet I see opportunity where they selected me to come in with a very different background than everybody else on the team. And I feel like I can make an impact on that thing that is bigger than myself.
I love that. And I'm going to speak to the truth around the alternative, or rather ask you about the alternative. While you were evaluating this company as one where you could contribute and where you're a person who chose to contribute, there's a whole lot of value in their vision to recruit you. Right? Like why Andrew? Why this guy who's got all this background in biopharma? What was the evaluation process look like, if you don't mind, if you're allowed to reveal that? I think there's so much value to learn from these teams that know how to find superstars and position them for success. And I know that's exactly what they've done with you. So how did that play out?
Oh, that great. I appreciate you asking me that. It played out over a number of years, actually, even before I'd ever expressed interest in the real estate business. Our owner lives a couple doors down from me, and we're friends. But look, this is his business, bread and butter. His father and him built it over 25 years with some others, and he was observing me over time. And when I just the kind of person, he's a really strong person in terms of integrity, leadership, just a quality individual, and that they're very selective. They had not added another person to their team in many, many, many years. And realtors every year asked him to join the brokerage, and he's never entertained any of them. Every year, many, many, many on the island asked him. And he told me flat out, and he also, through being friends, knows the jobs I've been in, and he's seen the way I operate as a person. And he told me flat out, he could go hire a very successful realtor. And that's not what he wants. He hires first for the important qualities and the things that he saw in me over the last few years, which included, again, high energy, hardworking. He saw me pulling out of here at 4:30 in the morning on Mondays to go to New York, 3 hours away every Monday. And he saw what kind of worker I was. He knew me as a person involved in the community. I volunteer and do other things. He does as well. Saw that in me. And then lastly, he knew I had the innate skills to be a realtor, a sales background, marketing background, operations background. And that last piece, the sales and operations are where I'm already having an impact on building out processes, systems, and more structure to a business that we want to grow significantly, on top of the fact that the Freeman Company is one of, if not the highest producing on the island already, but we want to go bigger. And he saw me as a piece that could bring something different, but also had the innate qualities to make sure I could still be a good real estate agent.
Dude, that was such a masterclass. I would go back and listen to that over and over, Visionaries. There were so many valuable truths and points in there. Andrew, you learn with more vigor than people who are 18 to 25 years old. And I hope that the 18 to 25-year-olds that are listening right now, like take notes, like, oh my gosh, I need to start learning like this guy. That would be a very wise and valuable thing to do as young visionaries. But even as visionaries that are seasoned, like, let's dive in and learn. You and I were talking just the other day about AI and Claude and what's happening with Claude and chatbots and agents. And we've got our whole list of things that we've got to do. You got a new career with real estate that you're building. You've got this rental property, this rental division that you're launching as well. And yet you weren't overwhelmed. You didn't look at it and say like, oh my gosh, you said, Jackson, I want to learn this AI stuff. I got to get this AI stuff down. And I was like, dang, man, he just keeps going with this champion level behavior. So talk to me about that. What's your plan with AI and real estate, and what have you come to realize just over the last several weeks or months of some of the changes the world is facing?
Yeah, no, obviously that's the big question everybody talks about every day, AI right now, right? And for me, what I'm trying to, and big thanks and shout out to Jackson for, we've had our conversations, and the other day he really, shared some important information around his view of AI, how it can impact business, but also how to manage it so that we don't lose our authenticity and who we are. It's really it's going to be a balancing act because see, the business I'm in, and the business we're all in every day is a people business. Life is a people business. It's all people, right? And how do you then utilize that technology to enhance your people experience? Meaning, I want to spend high value time with people and more time with people, not spending high value time on low value tasks. And I feel AI, I can give you an example. Our real estate group, we're starting this rental business, and we don't have our processes and all the things in place. I've been working on them for 3 months. One of the things I took on, I said the other day to our owner, I want to write the strategic plan. Nobody's done one. We're kind of doing stuff right now, right? And I put everything on paper that, like, in an outline. I pulled stuff that's already had. I dropped it into Claude, and I got back something that's 85% there. And I'll have a strategic plan drafted by Monday. And in my past, I've written many strategic plans in marketing and sales. It was usually a 6 to 8 week process.
Yes. It's mind blowing, isn't it?
By doing that, I'm spending more time. You know what I did this week, Jackson? Just to put icing on that cake is just in the last 3 days, because I freed up time. I've run a bunch of my documents through it. They're at a point where I'm already ready to present them to our leadership next week at our team meeting. I set up owners calls today and tomorrow to just have a quick touch point with all of our property owners to connect with them on some of the stuff we're working on for them. And I wouldn't have had time to do that high value touch with our most important clients, our owners, because I would have been writing strategic plans and workflows.
Oh man, it is such a blessing. There's so many ways we can use this technology to empower ourselves, empower our teams, empower our growth, empower abundance. There's so much here. And you just led into one of the points that we were originally going to talk about. And Andrew, we're going to keep going. I think we're actually going to make it through the whole list today, my friends, because we're both clear speakers. We can be brief. We can be efficient. We can do this for all of you guys. We're going to do it right now. So one of the areas that you just highlighted, the leadership shift that transforms skepticism into engagement. I'm going to dive right into vulnerability and a willingness to talk transparently with our teams and with the people that we lead. So right now we're on a podcast, we're talking to visionaries, and Andrew's talking about learning this new industry from scratch, diving into AI from scratch. You can hear the confidence in his voice. You can see how he's using these technologies to build amazing paths for his team moving forward. And for you, my friends, let's say some of you bigger visionaries out there, the ones who have big companies, I hope you're getting ahead of helping your people realize how they can also improve and enhance their resumes. Now, why would you do that? It's like, oh my gosh, if I help my team enhance their skills and their resumes and what they're up to, they're going to leave and go somewhere else. That's a scarcity mindset. That is not a growth mindset. They're going to leave knowing that they don't want to stick around somewhere that's holding them back. So I work very hard with my team at Vision Pros on all the things that they need to improve in order to maximize their lives. And that's another huge leadership step towards trust is I don't fear people leaving me. I fear people staying and getting stuck and me holding their lives back. So I'm going to show you guys something. After Andrew and I talked just a couple days ago, I started to build out the AI marketplace. And the AI marketplace is going to be a community that we launch with 50 founding members. And this resume builder right here is part of it. We're not just going to help entrepreneurs with this. I decided we need to help all people who think they can't really relate with AI realize that almost every human being on the planet is already an AI expert. And what let's look at this list right here. I love what this thing did. I didn't create this. Claude created this by me just telling it, hey, this is how we need to guide people. But if you've ever organized files into specific folders before, boom, check that. It tells you, oh, you understand knowledge base architecture. If you've ever organized and used email templates or saved replies for frequently asked questions, boom, you understand pattern recognition, what's called zero shot prompting. These are resume skills that you can put on your resume. And you can also start researching these things and saying, you know what, I want to know more about it so that I can speak this language and become more relevant as a leader in this next generation of AI. Manage the calendar and schedule conflicting meetings. Well, you're good at resource allocation algorithms. And you'll notice down here, it's already labeled you as a dormant AI expert. Right. So how does this relate? Exactly what I was talking about, my friends. I'm basically showing that if I'm going to be the type of person who's going to squash skepticism in the market and help people realize that I'm trustworthy and that I'm going to be the leader who's going to help them, the best thing I can do is vulnerably open up the doors and transparently teach as much value as humanly possible. That's my thoughts on it. Andrew, I love your take on it as well. How do we crush skepticism in teams or doubts and create leadership shifts that drive more momentum?
I think a lot of what you just said, I mean, it's always very important. I think part of it is with people, it's the why, what's in it for them, and them attaching to the importance of whatever the topic is in the case. And, I had this with salespeople often, different products. Say we had a product that had a label that was a little inferior to another product in a competitive market. And you'd have people just, you'd have a certain part of the population very skeptical of the product. And then you had others that the winners, the sellers that would say, all right, just show me how to sell this. And I'm going to win my clients over, if you will. And I feel like there's a little bit of bringing people along, the skeptics basically really trying to connect to them and help them understand why it's important and how they can win and where. And that's part of in sales. You don't go in with thinking you're going to get 100%. If you do, you're wrongly mistaken. When there's a competitive market, you figure out where to win and help people have their first wins and and to have that first bit of success, and then you build on it over time. And I feel and there's nothing better, whether it's a team or a one-on-one experience, when people feel like they start winning or growing, they want to do more of it. But if you don't get them there or show them as a leader how to get there or have the skills to really connect deep down with somebody through good questioning and listening and then understanding what's important to them, the skeptics will stay skeptics. But you can get them over to the other side, I believe, by putting the work in as a leader. Like I said, and I won't reiterate all the things I just said, and I found that and just creating a really positive environment. Skeptics often will do work for a great leader because they'll run through a wall for that leader, even when they don't necessarily think they can win. They're going to try to win because of the culture and the leader they work for.
That's huge. In fact, to reflect that, it's funny. A lot of younger visionaries and newer entrepreneurs, they hire very passively. And you talked about how you guys had a relationship for a couple of years. They were kind of scouting you over time, maybe not actively, but passively, always keeping the door open, looking at what's possible. And then in addition to that, you mentioned spending time with the owner and that you're going to be spending time with the team. I see so many visionaries accidentally hire a VA super passively and almost never train them. Maybe train them once, maybe twice, but maybe interact with them once a week for 30 minutes. But heaven forbid we spend more than 30 minutes with another human being. We got to get back to the grind, right? That's the recipe for disaster, my friends. But Andrew, I would love to hear more about your 30-year plus seasoned veteran with sales, marketing, operations. They know what they're doing. You know what you're doing. yet you're spending time together. How much time do you guys spend together on a daily or weekly basis? Is it only with one specific person? Do you have open door access? Do you take advantage of that? What's your routine look like to be able to integrate with the Freeman and Company team?
Uh, no, it's been great. Right before this call, our owner called me up and had a question about a property, and we talked daily that way. Him and another key player on the rental side who I'm building out the rental business with. We talk multiple times a day on the fly, and then we also have scheduled time. Our owner Eddie, he and I have Friday one-on-ones every week. That's dedicated time outside of just our agreement that we're going to connect. If I see him calling, and unless it's like something like this and I'm not able to step away per se, I take his call, and he does the same for me. So that also builds a lot of trust because I know I'm important enough for him to take the calls, and he knows that he's important enough for me to take his calls and drop whatever I'm doing. And like we have that urgency in a healthy way together, which I really like. We have an office that I tend to go to every other day at this point, and then I work from home. It's 8 minutes from my house. It's on the island, so it's a nice place to. I go down there, and I tend to spend time in the office with the team, and then I spend a lot of time up in my office there just working. So it's pretty fluid, but it's just we have a small team too, which is nice. A lot of the brokerages on the island are 20, 30, 40 people. There's 9 of us, and so we're very much
There's
like
9 of you, and there was 8 last year, right? When they did 200 million in sales.
Well, the Freeman Group was the original group before Freeman and Company was launched this year. There were just four people, Eddie and the 3 other partners. They did all that business, the 4 of them.
That's incredible.
And, it's amazing. And the next closest team on the island had like 30 people in it, and they did like 150 or something. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but and then he decided he was going to form Freeman and Company. We became our own brokerage through a brokerage platform. And he brought in another team of 3 people. So we have 3 verticals. You have the Freeman Group under the Freeman and Company. You have the Guarino team under Freeman and Company. And now we have our luxury rental business under Freeman and Company. So he now has created a parent company with the long-term goal of being very selective when and if to bring, say, another team in that made sense. So he has the model set up, but he's not in a rush to do that in any way, he said, because I think we have the right team. And obviously he thinks that because he's the owner and he hired everybody. But I think the next phase of growth, we have the right group with long term. I think we keep building the foundation and the strength of this group. There's no question we can scale over time if he chooses.
Oh, it's huge. That's the amazing thing about putting yourselves in a position of abundance, right? And even if you're not, even if we're in scarcity mode, and life's hard, it's so important to maintain an abundant mindset and realize that it is important to exercise due diligence, to be I don't want to say methodical, but very intentional with our choices and selective about who we're going to be working with. And so let's dive into existing teams, because trust is one of those things that it's kind of fluid. It can go any direction. Just like our body needs food, I think trust also needs to be it needs nutrition. And so trust often quietly erodes inside teams. And there's exceptional leaders who they do certain things to consistently turn it back on and earn it back. So what would you say are some of the things that additional things that erode trust, and how can leaders consistently lean into building it?
Great question. I could talk a lot about this one after leading a lot of teams and a lot of dynamics, especially with sales teams. They're very spirited people with, they're, obviously outgoing, strong-willed, and often opinionated. And, what I found, say you have a team of 10 people. And we always say, you want to lead each person for who they are under the umbrella of your team, your mission, your vision, but you want to respect the individuality of each person. And with that, often you could have somebody within the group who, because for whatever reason, they go off. They kind of venture away from what we had originally agreed to, or they've had a life experience that has created stress that's being channeled now into negativity or a negative impact on the team, or they themselves, their productivity's gone down. And others, even when they're not directly impacting them in a direct way, when you're on a high performing team that has an individual goals and they have a team goal, typically in sales, everyone else is watching, and it becomes a negative impact, sometimes in a small way. When they're direct, it's a big way, because then they start to kind of infect that negativity to the team. And what I've always done, and I learned over many years, I wasn't so great at it in my early career because I had to learn the hard way, but I became really good at identifying when somebody was off. And I really, with that person, showed them I cared, and would seek to understand, 7 habits, seek to understand what's going on a personal level, not in a group setting, not in a combative way. I really would ask the questions to then get them to open up, so then I could then understand what was going on, reiterate to them what we have agreed to, but also understand at that time what's important to them, and bring them back. Sometimes it happened quick. Other times it was just an incremental approach to bring somebody back. And a lot of it hinged on, again, what was important, what is their why, and what made them successful to date, and make them feel like a winner. And then that often really helped bring people back into the fold, and also create an environment with the team where I was making sure that person felt important and valued, and that others also were having a positive impact on them. And I often felt like that was one of the biggest stressors on my team's trust and productivity were often stemmed from things like that. And then the other is, as a leader, when, I've seen trust erode when leaders, there's the company. Look, I always believe the company, we're paid by the company, but we're also, if we are there for the right reasons and we're at the right company, then we are supposed to be aligned to the company's mission and goals and strategies. And when leaders stray from better and they take their team down a path, you can see people very conflicted that, you're either up to something, or you're not like part of the company, and you're just trying to win for the wrong reasons. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've seen where leaders go off on their own, and I'm an order follower and all that kind of stuff. But I just believe in that we're all marching in the right direction together. And if we stray from that, we got to talk about why and get back to the mission.
I love that. And if it doesn't make sense for somebody, it is definitely not because of Andrew on that. It's because we've all got things to learn. Andrew has an amazing ability to simplify calculus levels of leadership. And that's what I love about being able to just sit in these conversations. It makes me not want to host. It makes me want to just stay here and say, man, I just want to listen. I just want to listen and keep learning about what you're up to and how you've done it, Andrew. We're going to take a quick break, though. We're going to come back and we're going to hit real hard on the next piece. But before we take that break, you said you asked people about what's important to them. You asked them about what their why is. And I think the third question, but I might have wrote it down wrong, was what can kind of bring them back and get them engaged. But if I got that wrong, what was that final question?
No, the third was I would ask them to reflect on successes. What made them successful? And think about those successes they've had, and get them thinking about their next success.
Oh man, that's awesome. And the next one. Thank you. That's huge.
Try to shift the mindset from the problem to, hey, I'm valued. He wants to know about my success. And then I get them to, let's talk about the next one and how we can do that together.
That's so huge. That reminds me so much of the 1 Minute Manager.
That's exactly what it is. Big 1 Minute Manager.
Absolutely. We'll be right back, guys. We're going to dive into one final principle, and we'll see you on the other side. All right. Welcome in to Vision Pros Live with Jackson Callum. I'm your show host. We will be doing interviews for visionary entrepreneurs and guest leaders who are building fantastic visions out there. As you can welcome into Vision Pros Live, I'm your show host, Jackson Callum, founder and CEO of First Class Business. And we've had Andrew Paytel on the show today. He's such a legend, and I'm so excited to bring him back on for one final segment. But I had to take a little bit of space to just kind of reflect on all that we've covered. And again, going back to the value of why did I choose with Andrew to talk about this, about why trust breaks on teams and what great leaders do differently. The biggest reason why I chose to crush this subject with him is because of the powerful leader that he has been in his past as an executive and what he's storming through right now as a new leader at the Freeman Company real estate, at the real estate company. And this company, guys, last year with 4 people did 200 million in sales. And when you can get behind the scenes and see what's going on at organizations like this and learn about their operations, their marketing, their sales, their leadership. I'm not broken. I'm talking about this on purpose. I see too many entrepreneurs overlook the value of diving into how can I become a better leader? How can I do? And that's exactly why I want Andrew on here. But real quick, before I bring him back on, though, a couple of other resources for all of you that I'm also very passionate about. One is Dr. Shannon and Dr. Justin Pierce over at Journey to Wellness, journeywellnessplan.com. These doctors I've known for over 8 years. They've had 3 friends and family members, 3 people that I sent to them. These are people who did not have answers for their health problems. And I had heard that Shannon is able to figure things out that most doctors can't. And this isn't about magic. It's about the types of tests that they are actually willing to run and the fact that she's been through health issues herself. All 3 of the people, when I followed up with them, raved about the understanding, about the gains they had, and about what she was able to do for their lives. And so I'm not a doctor. I can't speak to this from any type of scientific background, but I just know that I'm really grateful for my family and friends when I meet somebody or have somebody who's got something, whether it's Crohn's disease or EBV, the Epstein-Barr virus. Again, if I hear somebody talk about it, I know, okay, I got to introduce them to Shannon. I'm going to let her do her thing. So if you know somebody who's struggling with that, then I hope this becomes a blessing to your life. Then there's Jennifer Reed with Practice Makes Permanent. Practice Makes Permanent is a company that helps with EQ and IQ development. And so she's a facilitator for culture. And I think most companies these days are starting to realize that if you want to win at the next level, creating phenomenal cultures is one of the greatest keys that you can dive into. She's got an incredible personal story. You're going to want a tissue box when you ask her about it. But my friends, in the same way that Eddie from Freeman Company realized that, you know what, I need to do some deep research with Andrew and really see who this person is before I bring them in. And I hope that all of you, as well as you're looking to bring somebody in, dive deep, do the due diligence, because you don't want to hire fast and end up with somebody who's not great at what they do. You want to dive in deep and find out what really qualifies these people and realize that once you do, you'll see that Jennifer Reed is one of the best in the business at being able to help you with developing your culture. Then there's the Water Project. We don't have an affiliation with it, but we do donate to it every single month. And it's one of those causes that somebody brought up to me, and I didn't really get it because I've always had access to clean drinking water. I've never been thirsty in my life. But as I started to study it and meditate upon it, become one of my favorite passions to talk about, because I realize there's millions of people in this world who don't even have access to clean drinking water. And I imagined, what would it be like if my kids had to go look for water? What would it be like if I had to leave work to go find water and you don't even know the source of the water? You might not know how to sterilize it. I mean, filter it, like all that, like that. What a dangerous and scary position to be in. And here we are. We get to actually donate even just $10 to one of these projects. You get to choose the project, and the water project will actually send you an email with proof that they completed the project and how the community was impacted by it. This is going to create generational impact for individuals. And you can see the kids on my screen right now. They're celebrating water stronger than most of our kids celebrate Christmas Day. It's a very humbling reality. My hope is if you don't have the financial means to give to this, that you'll simply talk about this over lunch or dinner with some friends, or maybe on a car trip. Just take the time to tell friends about it. You never know. You might influence somebody to actually fund several of these projects and make a generational impact for hundreds, if not thousands of people. So again, thanks for joining me on that. If you've got something else that you'd like to see us give back to, then just drop it in the comments. If you've got another cause or a GoFundMe that you're aware of, if you drop those in the comments, I'll personally take a look at what those causes are. I might even talk about it here on the show, but I'll do my best to help out. My friends, we got 8 billion people to help out. Let's do it together and get back to helping each of you. We're going to dive in just a little bit further with Andrew on leadership. Andrew, again, man, I really appreciate you being here today. This has been so awesome so far.
Sure thing.
Absolutely.
It's been fantastic.
So we're going to dive into one final topic. We're going to dive into talking about credibility, alignment, and long-term commitment. That's a tough subject to end on, but if we were to try to boil down a secret sauce recipe real fast, or some principles for visionaries who want to truly build long-term, what would your final words of wisdom be to them?
So you know where I'm going to go with this, the 4 C's. But
Yes.
before I get to that, I'm going to hit on those, but I'm going to say something before them that I think it really ties into almost every subject, we've talked about today, that I believe, whether it's trust, whether it's vision, et cetera, it's authenticity. People, if they believe you because you're coming from the right place and a real place, and you're not a storyteller per se. You can be a good storyteller, but not that you're telling a story, if you know what I'm saying, about, where you're taking people and why. I think authenticity has been one of the things. It's a challenge because not everybody is down with your authentic style, but you have to be courageous enough to believe in it and do things the right way and for the right reasons. And that authenticity eventually will be understood and valued, and you'll be a better leader, because people will follow authentic people. So I want to add that. That's key. So 4 C's: confidence, commitment, and care. If I was that's been something I've been following as a set of principles for probably the last 15 years, half of my corporate career, where I strive to be competent so that I can be a better leader, and others will believe that I add value and I'm competent for them as well. If I'm competent, others will be confident in me, and I'll be more confident in myself. And then that confidence will be a positive confidence. And if I'm committed, drive, high energy, they know you're there to do the work, and you're here for the long haul, like you just said, the long term. I think that's really important. After you've established the confidence, people want to know you're committed and they believe you're in this for the long haul with them. And then lastly, you got to do all that with care for people. And for your clients, and that you just genuinely care, and you're coming from the right place, even when you're delivering hard news, hard feedback, and even performance management type stuff. People know you care. They're much more receptive, and they're much more likely to then themselves be committed, confident, and they'll want to be more competent and get to work.
Oh man, that's huge. Thank you so much, Andrew, for all the recipes, the frameworks, the guidance, the leadership, the wisdom, and the experience that you've blessed us with today. I'm super happy about it. I get to learn from you on a daily basis. By the way, Vision Pros, you could too. There aren't very many people out there who are going to take the confident step to just call a mentor, to just reach out on LinkedIn and connect. But that could be you. You could go in to LinkedIn right now, connect with Andrew, and start a little pen pal session and send him an audio clip. He's the type of person that I know would take your call. So do it. Lean into people who are willing to give, and go check out what's going on at the Freeman Company as well. And Long Beach Island, if you're looking for a great place to live, then how would you not want to be surrounded by Andrew and his types of people like him and his neighborhoods? He talks about it all the time with me about how amazing it is. I'm like, man, I really like Ecuador, but I really want to check this island out at some point too. So definitely do that. And my friends, those of you who want to be on the show, there's a button in the top right corner on the page. It says visionproslive.com. Go there and it says be our guest. Click the button, book for your show. You don't have to be a world-class leader who's had 30 years of experience at some of the best biopharma companies in the world. You don't have to be working with one of the top real estate companies in the world either. You can be starting out your vision. We really want you to come on the stage, have an opportunity to talk about what you're up to. Let's all change the world together. Andrew, I really appreciate you being here, man. I want to bring you back. We'll come up with topic number 2, so we can come back and explore your depth even further. Are you cool with that?
I'd be honored.
Okay, Vision Pros. We'll see you guys next time with Andrew. We'll see you guys in the next episode as well. I've got somebody in the weight room as well, James Kalistra. I got to figure out his last name, but I know he's also leading in the podcast space. So he's already teed up with a phenomenal guest. Andrew, I got to get you introduced to James later as well. And my friends, we'll see you guys all when you come on the show, and we'll look forward to your comments, your questions. I was about to say preguntas in Spanish. We look forward to those too. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye. Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a vision pro yourself.